Hey everyone, in this video, let's take a look at how we can use platforms as walls. If I run my program and I move my character towards this wall, he can actually run right through it. So let's write some code that makes anything that's a platform also work as a wall. We're going to do this in the player class. And if we kind of take a step back and think about it, our on ground code and our move to ground code is very similar to what we want to do. We just want to do this in the wall direction instead of the ground direction. So it makes sense to actually copy this method and then paste a copy of it in our player class to edit it. Now right away, Greenfoot says that we have an error, and that's because we have two methods that are named the same thing. We can't have two on-ground methods. So it makes sense to rename this method to something else. Now this method is going to check walls to the right of my character, so I'm going to name this checkRightWall, like this. And then basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through this code and kind of think about, should I edit it? Does it make sense? What can I change it to make this work better for walls? So the first thing I'm going to look at is sprite height. And if you think about this, walls are not above or below our sprite, it's to the left or right. So let's change height to width. And then this is measuring our images width. So let's change this to width. We're not going to look for walls anymore. We're going to look for right walls. And we're not going to use the sprite height. We're going to use the sprite width, like this. Now, as we move down, we're not looking for grounds anymore. We're looking for walls. So let's call this R wall, like for right wall. And then we're getting one object at an offset. Now, this is where the code has to change a little bit. Currently, we're not looking left or right. So this 0 actually needs to become look for right walls. And then the look for ground, this needs to become 0. We're not looking for any ground. We're just looking for walls. So again, this code here, the first parameter is how far left or right we want to look. The second parameter is how far up or down we want to look. That's why this is 0, and that's look for right walls. We still want to look in the platform class, but we're not looking for ground anymore. We're looking for right walls. And so if it's null, we don't care if we're jumping. So let's get rid of this. And we're going to return false. So if we're not touching a wall, we're returning false. If we are touching a wall, let's stop by the right wall, or the R wall. And let's stop by the one that we called R wall. And we're going to return true, because this is a Boolean method. So if we're not touching the wall, return false. If we are touching the wall, return true, and run this method stop by our wall. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this method name for our second move to ground. And we need to transfer this actor into this method. So this, where it says ground, is going to become our wall. So write our wall here. And now again, we're going to go through here and kind of figure out, is this the stuff we need? So ground height, not really. Let's do wall width, like that. We're looking for the R wall actor right here, like this. And then get height doesn't make sense. We care about the width of the wall. Now, when we want to stop by the wall, we're not going to change the Y coordinate anymore. So we're going to call this new X. It's not going to be a ground. It's going to be the R wall. We're going to use get X instead of get Y. And what we want to do is move him to the right of the wall. So we're going to leave this subtraction. We're going to put this right here. We're going to call this wall width. And we're going to use our sprite's width right here. Now, because we changed this to new X, this coordinate actually goes here, and we're going to replace new Y with get Y. So new X is going here, our new X coordinate, and we're going to call this get Y. And again, because we copied this from the ground code, it says jumping equals false. This doesn't matter. Let's get rid of that. So now that we have these two methods that are working together, what we need to do is call them in our act method. And we're always going to try and make sure that check fall is first. So I'm just going to add it to the bottom here. Check right wall. And now let's compile it, make sure we have no errors. Let's check our code here, press reset, run our platformer, run our player, and now if we run him into that wall, he stops there. So now what we can do is we can go into our player code, and you need to write the check left wall code. And if you think about it, really what's going to change is the direction you're looking and the method that you're using. That was not a straight line, sorry about that, but you're going to change these two when you write a new method. And then here you need to think about which way we need to move our character. We're actually moving him to the left, so when you write this for your left walls, you're going to want to change this sign to something else, so you're moving him to his right.